Hello? Yeah? Can you hear me? Okay. There's a lot of noise, so we'll try to speak loud enough so that you can hear us. So thank you very much for being here today. I'm very excited to be moderating this panel about incredible health tech, women health tech by women. No, is the name of the panel. So did you know that in the healthcare sector, 65% of the employees are actually women? And not only that, in the healthcare sector, 80% of buying decisions are already made by women. So it's clearly a sector which the market is driven clearly by women. Today, I'm thrilled to be here with three top talented women that are leading three startups related to women healthcare. So welcome, and I will ask you first if you can introduce a little bit yourselves and tell us a little bit about the startups and the problem that you're trying to solve. If you want to start.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone, it's lovely to be here. So my name is Melinda Nicky and I'm CEO and founder of Body Collective. And at Body Collective, we create female-first lifestyle solutions based on science, not speculation. So everything we do is driven by data, and we do personalized wellness programs. So based on a woman's stage of her life, where she is, her cycle, what her lifestyle's like. And we have two products. One is called Baby to Body, which is for conception, pregnancy, and postpartum. And the second product is called Embody, which is for the perimenopause and the menopause. So significant times of a woman's life need personalized and specific programs, and that's what we do.
Can anyone hear me? I usually have a loud voice, so maybe I can maybe you can even hear me in this current setup. My name is Dina. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Gamito. We're a biotech company, actually. We make therapeutics using cell engineering to solve the problems that are caused by fast ovarian aging. Now you might ask, what's fast ovarian aging? But we women, our ovaries age 5 times faster than the rest of their body, and that results in infertility, with our ovary being termed geriatric or old when we're in mid-30s, and then later on in menopause, an increased number of years spent in poor health. So at Gamito, using our collaboration with Harvard and the Wyss Institute, we use cell engineering to provide new therapeutics for IVF and menopause, and we have a new office here in Madrid, and an amazing scientist, Maria, who's leading our experiments in Spain, and I'm really excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Hélène, the founder and CEO of World AI. I'm a data scientist and athlete, and what we're doing is an app for women. We take data from wearables and daily inputs, and together we have a readiness score that from there we provide women with personalized recommendations on how to eat, supplements, train, recover on a daily basis. So it's adapted to you, and we serve women who menstruate, use birth control, or in perimenopause, menopause. Very excited to be here.
Great, thank you very much. So one of the things I was reading before preparing for this panel is a recent report by McKinsey called The Dawn of Femtech Revolution, where we can see how the interest, particularly in femtech and in healthcare for women, is increasing over the last years, and there's more public awareness, there's more articles being published, particularly ULN, I think I've read you've been recently featured in a lot of magazines, in Forbes, in Wired, in Marie Claire, etc. Are you noticing this increase of interest, and what else can we do to raise the public awareness about these issues?
Yeah, I think we really start from very, very far. So we're still in the infancy of awareness and interests. And so it's total blue ocean market of it. It's insane that Melinda's companies and your company are innovating companies. We are not serving women, and people are still not very interested in women yet. So when we say there is an increase of interest, we start from really, really low, and there's a little bit more interest, but we're still far away from anything related to the metaverse or anything like that. I mean, like you're saying we are like in a tiny corner stage because female health is like so exciting, you know, like women are like this tiny part of the population, and we're really a subset. Like, you know, you have health and female health, you have sports, female sports, rugby, female rugby, because we are a subset. We still like, you know, like the holy grail is the male body, and so there's an increase, but we're like far away from having like an equality of interest. And I think some of the things that are like still shocking today is 80% of the medical research today is made on males. And so one of the things we're working on is making it compulsory from the regulators in the US to have women in research, for instance. So some of the things are really important. Media, like how do we make it more interesting in sports? And, you know, like some arguments are like, well, women is less interesting. People are less interested in watching women. It's not true. Like soccer, female soccer in the US has more audience than men. So we need to change that, and we really need actors. So please be involved as well.
And one of the things we were talking about before just the panel, no, is how to raise more interest is probably related to demonstrate that it is like a highly profitable market and there's really like money on the table, right? This report that I was reading that McKinsey did says that the femtech market is projected to reach 60 billion market value, no, by 2027. So it's really like a big opportunity. So I was wondering also, no, how you see like the market evolving, no, and how we can really like, what are you doing to really like prove, no, or demonstrate that this can be like a big business opportunity and that really there's money here that we can do if we want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I usually say, like you can really only solve problems that you can see. It's very difficult to seek for solutions for the things that you don't know exist. And we're all very biased and subjective based on the problems that we can solve. Personally, I'm passionate about women's health and ovarian aging because we worry about the biological clock, fertility, what's going to happen to me as I go through menopause. We're passionate about certain things like immigrant education because I've been an immigrant my whole life, right? Like we're very biased. It's women caring about women's health disease. So one big thing that we ought to do in order to diversify funding is to diversify the investor base. But that takes time, right? Like having more diverse group would ensure that we address different set of problems. But the main thing that we can do right now is try to make more money. And I think that's what we need to do as startups focus in this space. Like we need to show return for our investors. The few early companies just need to prove that this is a very profitable area. And all investors may care about different problems, but they all care about making money. So if you end up seeing several unicorns being built in this space, very good return on investment for investors, then like slowly the ecosystem will space and more people will see, okay, like my buddy from another firm put venture money and they got 20x, maybe I should review this femtech company. And we raised so far 30 million and are really kind of the pioneers in the biotech space. Most women's health company in the early wave have focused on democratization and service delivery. We're really trying to kind of be the leader in therapeutics. And I think with a few success stories, we're certainly going to see more capital flowing in the space.
Really interesting. And before talking about capital and fundraising a little bit more, Melinda, you've been with Wild AI, no, already in operating since 2015, no, so a lot of years. And 2016, you were at Wira UK, and you were telling me, no, how you've been evolving in terms of number of users, etc. Can you tell us a little bit more, no, how you've been growing, no, and the plans you have to continue, like providing new products and services?
Yeah, sure. So I echo like what both of these ladies said about moving the needle on the market and getting the interest in women's health, and it's really important. You know, when we're faced with looking at investors and they like blank-faced when they think, is this a problem? It's like 51% of the population are literally having these issues and are the people that are our market. So this is not niche. So we started in 2015 with, you know, very basic. We didn't have much money because there wasn't any money around. So when I went to raise money, we were told that it was too niche. So we started like basically bootstrapped everything. When we went to Wira in 2015, we had 30,000 users. And before the end of that year, we had 1 million. So there was a huge growth. And what we found now, I mean, now we're nearly 3 million users on Baby to Body platform, and the engagement is incredible. We've got 80 to 90% after 30 days engagement, which industry standards are about 30%. So, you know, we've iterated over the years to build a product that is designed by women, thought about by women, and we think about everything that a woman is going to think about throughout her day, and it's working. It's working because we understand our market, and we build products that actually motivate people and help them and make them happier, make them healthier, and we just keep that kind of feedback loop going in that intrinsic motivation, so they're more motivated to take part in what we ask them to do and to come back to the app every single day. And I think, you know, talking about like trying to get investment and everything, we've been really, really focused on our unit economics. So even though we haven't raised a huge amount of money and we haven't got, you know, hundreds of millions of people on the platform, we've got amazing unit economics. And, you know, what I always tell young female entrepreneurs is just be amazing at what you do. Don't worry about if you're a female, don't worry about like, is there not enough money in femtech? And what Dina said, just focus exactly on your unit economics, making money, and making, you know, impact of whatever you're trying to build. So, and I think, you know, to your question, we are focused now on our next product as well, which is called Embody, and it's for the perimenopause, menopause market. Any woman over 35 is probably going to go through the perimenopause at some point in the next like 3-4 years. So it's a huge market. There's 1 billion women who will be suffering with perimenopause symptoms by 2025. Every single day, 1 billion women with symptoms. So that's what we're tackling, and yeah, we're going to be 10xing our user base in 3 years.
Great, great. Talking about growing, no? One of the major challenges all startups have is about attracting talent, no, and making sure they work with the best talent. How are you finding, for example, Hélène, no? Do you find like easier also to convince like developers, technical talent, and so on, which are normally men, to join like a femtech startup? Do they feel like comfortable, or have you find like any like taboo or like any like weird situation?
So funny because like if you have a I don't know, cancer research company, or you have any company that like the people in the team are actually not having it, no one would ever ask this question. Like, do you find it weird to work on like, I don't know, cancer research? And but for women, we have that question. So no, it is not weird. We have men, they love it. The conversations are like, it's super fun. It's very varied as well, our team. So we have all religions, from like Catholics, Jews, Muslim, all countries who naturally like don't really like each other, like Pakistan, India. They work together and they talk about like cervical fluids and like gorgeous breasts, or like, and it's totally normal. It's like human bodies, and it's amazing to actually see people talk about these things, and I love it. Like I find it's like one of the most exciting things, and not there. It's a great job. It's super fun. They know more about human bodies that. Like, and it's interesting, when I say it's a human body, they're like, no, it's a female body. You know, it's also a human body. And like every single human in the world is either a woman or pops out of a woman. So like there is no reason not to be interested in women, whereas there's still this taboo. So, you know, like, I don't know, menstrual health is a taboo. Like, and men here might say, no, it's not. Well, have you ever bought a Tampax? Or do you have period sex? No, where women are horny when they have their periods. So, and it's so taboo still in our society. So I find it really fun. Our team like love it, and there's amazing talent in the sector. And when you like it, it's really, really exciting. And also, like we are a data science company, and it's incredible to work in our company because it's a blue ocean market in terms of data sets. So we have this huge amount of data that has barely been analyzed ever, and now you can play with it. So if you're trying to optimize human, like male performance, there's like tiny increments because there's so much that has been done. If you try to optimize like female longevity, it has literally not been looked at. So yeah, no, I think it's like fun.
Amazing. No, really, really inspiring. And one of the things also I wanted to ask you, Dina, is about collaboration with universities and research centers, no? In the health sector, no, there's still like this challenge, no, on how to really make the most of all the research that is done by university, by research centers, by hospitals, to really from there like take out businesses, no? And you've been working with Harvard University, no, for the last 2 years. Maybe you can share a little bit like your experience and give maybe like some advice, no, on how to deal, no, with the different stakeholders, no, and make sure that they are all aligned, no?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a biotech company, so there's a lot of basic science research that needs to be done, and often a lot of that preliminary science can be leveraged at leading academic institutions. So a lot of our underlying basic science was done at George Church's lab at Harvard and the Wyss Institute, which is the leading institute in the world for organoid research, where we actually engineer from stem cells, we make cells of the female reproductive system. And we have this like little ovaroids growing in the fridge, and we can test different drugs and therapeutics, and are now testing them in the clinic. So we've structured our agreement with Harvard as a sponsor research agreement, which is slightly different than the traditional model of having intellectual property, IP, spun out of academia. And I think that model is evolving because it allows the company, if they have capital up front, to work with people in academia towards a shared goal. Furthermore, as we brought our first biologic, our first medicine, now testing with humans with IVF clinics, we are testing here in Spain and across the US and in Latin America. We've also started working with physicians. And I think particularly in this area of where you have patients, you have academics, you have doctors, you do need to work and try to have research collaborations, material transfers agreement. And I think so far, I'm sure you've seen it with your data collection, we were just like so obsessed with healthcare about not sharing data, not sharing IP, because biotech industry is only based on like how long do you have this IP for, that's how much money you can make. And I think with consumerization of healthcare, as long as you own the market and are really confident your products are bringing value, you could be more open, more transparent, and that allows for collaborations that then fuel your growth in your product. And I'd certainly encourage young companies, particularly if they're looking at in the biotech or deep science space, to go and seek like, is there anything at university or university infrastructure that could accelerate my internal R&D by 5 years, and how could I sign a collaboration agreement, perhaps, share a pie, but then grow the pie so it's bigger, so it doesn't matter that I've shared it.
Very interesting. And last question before we open for Q&A, we have still some time, I don't know what time is it, is about ambition. No? So some VCs, some say that sometimes women lack ambition. With these 3 women here, I don't think they lack ambition at all. But anyway, I want you to share with the people here, what's your ambition for your company and for yourselves? How do you see yourselves like in 2-3 years' time? What would you be like your dream? You want to start, Hélène?
So we want to be a data technology platform for women in the world. So if you look at all these wearables, they're made for men. They have like data creation level that is for men, and the interpretation is for men. So it reads my body temperature goes up, it thinks I'm sick. True as a man, as a woman, I might be ovulating, pregnant, in perimenopause. So there's multiple reasons. So it literally doesn't exist. So that's our ambition, be that company.
Yeah, well, in 3 years, we hope to have our first drug on the market, which will change the way we think about IVF and reduce the need for all of these hormonal injections that right now women need to have, and remove this concept of the biological clock that sits behind every time you make a decision. Should I take this job? Should I go do this road trip? Will I be able to have kids when I want to do so? And how is this going to affect my career? And then over the long term, all of these conditions that the wonderful ladies next to me are bringing have no therapeutics. Like polycystic ovaries don't have a single licensed medicine. Endometriosis, not a single licensed medicine. What's the counter for female Viagra? What's the counter of benign, prostate hypertrophy? So I think over time, we really want to position ourselves as a leading pharmaceutical grade company producing medicines for all of the diseases of the female reproductive system.
Linda?
And so our focus is on women and empowering them to live their best lives. So giving every single woman on the planet the ability to understand what's going on in her body, the power to make her own decisions for her own body and her own lifestyle, and to manage that so she can live the way that she wants to live. So talk about living your best life, and that's what we want every woman in the planet, whether they're going through puberty, pregnancy, conception, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, at every age, to be able to understand and live better.
Great, great. So I would like to open for questions if there's questions. If not, I have another one, but if there's anyone that want to ask anything to these amazing women here. No? There's one here at the back. Could you share the mic?
Hello? Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I was wondering, as like female CEOs, how do you position yourself against the kind of traditional idea of a CEO and like founder? We're a school, and it's all about the kind of traditional how to be a CEO thing. So I was wondering, how do you position yourself against that?
Yeah, I think being a founder entrepreneur is like about doing things that haven't been done before. So we need to show the path, and I think being surrounded by women who have done things before is really inspiring. Seeing female CEOs pregnant is quite unusual. So like, how does it work? How is it perceived? Is like, but it's possible. Like, you know, people are not like, women are quite smart, and they're not handicapped. Like they actually like it's quite powerful, a woman, when you think about it. So like, how I think about a female CEO, I think is awesome. Like first of all, we are founders. We're building incredible companies, and we are having like our personalities are represented in our companies in what we do, and it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like it's a tough question. I remember because I'm a medical doctor by background, and medicine, and particularly biotech, is a very still like hierarchy-driven industry dominated by mid-age white men. I remember during like the earlier days of my career, what I do, I always wear a black suit, dark lipstick, tie my hair back, and like try to have a very deep voice and let's go very assertive. But then, over time, as you kind of get your accomplishments and more confident, and I'm like, wait, I've done this, I've raised this much money, we've made this much money in the previous venture, now we're doing this, like, this is how you have to change your mindset and remove your stereotypes of this is how a CEO needs to look like. So I feel that's what I talk about, diversification of investors. We also need to be diversification of founders, because there are a lot of groups that struggle with raising money, getting their opportunities, simply because they just don't fit into that stereotype we've built. So I think like we do have the role to push the boundaries and just be like, I can look like this, I can wear this, and I'm still going to be a great founder and create an impactful company.
And I'm a sports psychologist and a trainer and nutrition qualifications, so not a tech founder in any kind of normal way. But I think that's what makes our companies interesting, right? We come at it with a different view of being domain experts and being really, really passionate about what we want to do and understanding the problems that we're trying to solve. And I think that is our superpower, all three of us. And we understand, acutely what the problems are, so we're very well equipped to figure out how to make solutions. And we're all like kick-ass businesswomen, so sit up.
Yeah, last question. So in the femtech space, actually 70% of founders are women, but in general, in average, in the whole startups ecosystem, just like 20% of the founders are women. What do you think we can do to encourage more women to become founders of startups that can be like market leaders? What would you, any piece of advice you would give like to some women here that will be listening and that feel attracted to founding their own startup? What would you tell them to encourage them?
Yeah, I'm happy to go for this one. I'm going to say an anecdote. So in my medical school, there used to be like a grading system, right? Like a multiple choice question in which you can answer, select the correct answer, and then they also had to put the level of certainty. So if you're 100% certain, you can put +3, and if you get it right, you get 3 points, right? And if you are not certain, then you get -3. You get -3 points based on the certainty, right? So if you get it wrong and you put certain, you lose 3 points. But if you get it right and you're certain, you get +3 points. But if you just don't put the level of certainty, you can get +1 or -1. And they removed the certainty criteria because they realized that men would only male medical students were only getting +3 or -3, right? Like no matter which answer, they were always certain in it, whereas women would always like +1 or -1. They were never certain in what they knew. So they were like, okay, this examination criteria biases against women, so we're just gonna have a simple multiple choice question, and they removed certainty. And I think that gives us, this is again like a very broad generalization, does not apply to everybody, but like what we do see is that occasionally we women, and I've personally experienced that myself, right? Like I need to do my overnight homework and really know I know my stuff where I can go present, are perhaps sometimes less motivated to take risk. So if I was to say, and like I really had to go to meetings, I was a partner in like a fund, to see these men that are like on these big roles, and I see like they actually don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it, and like they figure it out on the way. So I would encourage you to be bold. Nobody knows what they're doing 100%. So like take more risk, remain humble, remain open for learning, but be confident and take risk.
And you want to
Yeah,
share
I think to
something
add to that, I think from the very beginning of being a girl up to being a woman, we are just like less pushed to take risks. Like, as a little boy, you're like, oh, look, he's so cool. Like he's like climbing a tree, and then little girls like, oh, be careful with your dress. And so we have to like stop that entirely. And every time you see like parents, adults like saying something to girls, like stop them, like be like upfront and say, and throughout our lives as well, women are like, if you're assertive in business, you're like bitchy and you're like a girl boss. So I think we need to stop that. So I think like we are, first of all, like we take less risks, but why are we taking less risks, and why are these reasons? And like we're not used to having a slap in the face. Like men, like in these societies, like guys come up to girls to ask them out, and the girls don't. Why? And so we don't get slaps in the face. So we take less risk. So we like also fail less. So I think like in the US, they don't praise failure, they praise action. And because you take more actions, you fail more often. So I think like just act and try things and get out there and expose yourself. So I think like that's on the female side. And then on the other side, on the investment side, literally women just need cash. Like no more mentoring, no more whatever cute little things, like just fuel cash to women. Like we are business people, like we know how to use money, so yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and my advice would be, just like the others have said, take more risks. And I think the other thing is surround yourself with some role models. So find a mentor, find someone who can help you and big you up, especially in the early stages, because it is really difficult. Anything's difficult. It's difficult for men, it's difficult for women, but I think having people around you who champion you, who can support you, who can share your journey is so important. And I had some amazing people around me in the early stages, and now I'm doing the same for other startups, sitting on boards. So I think that's the way we give back, and that's the way we encourage. So
Thank you very much for being here, very inspiring, and thank you very much for listening.